Hey there. Welcome to our live. I'm not going to assume that anybody can hear me talk since we haven't the last two times. So hopefully it will work this time. Got a new phone, so fingers crossed. And Emma should be joining us any second. We're going to be talking today about how to build a brand that is your jam. Figuring out what you love and figuring out how to build a brand around it, something that really gives you life as opposed to something that kind of sucks it out of you. So let's see, I think maybe. Looks like she might be joining us. Anyway, this is something that we have been talking about a lot lately, Emma and I, because Dossier is very much our jam. And really, something that we're super passionate about and that really we love. We love doing, we love interacting with and being part of. And I am, let me see if I can get Emma on here. I don't know why. It's not adding her. Anyway, but we will get started in just a second here. Possibly. Okay. Anyway, well, I will. I can start until she joins us. I'm not sure what's. It's not adding her. Anyway, she will be joining us though. Anyway, so figuring out, what really gives you life and what really makes your brand work for you, that makes you really enjoy what you're doing, I think is really central to what we're all about as a business, and for ourselves and for our clients. And it is very much about intentionality. It doesn't necessarily need to be the best of everything, but it needs to be the best for you. And because there is no, sort of objective. Oh, here she is. Let's see if I can get her on. There we go.
Hey.
Oh, hey.
Sorry about
How's it
that. I
going?
wasn't getting an invite and I was like, oh no, I must be missing something.
No, you weren't there. Like you weren't in my list. So
Oh,
no
weird.
idea. Don't ask.
All right.
Hi, how's it going?
Hi. Well, thanks for setting this. Thanks for setting up the intro for us.
Oh yeah. Sorry. I was just kind of like, I'm just gonna vamp here for a second and
All good.
we're good.
What are we drinking?
I am having a gin and ginger.
Oh, nice.
I've been
I've
really
got it.
enjoying it. What do
Pinot
you
Grigio.
Nice.
Cheers.
Yes. I thought about mixing it up and not drinking gin for this tonight, but if we're gonna talk about like what makes our brand our jam, I'll
That makes sense. Yeah.
I'll
I
stick
I
to
had martinis last night and I just was like, could use a little change of pace.
that's
I'm
fair.
glad one of us is
I'm
still
repping the
holding the
dossier.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
And I want to point out too that like we're both coming to you, the audience, from the 90s today.
Yes.
Not sure if you noticed.
Queens of the 90s, not just
Queens
like
of the
kind of
90s. Yeah, absolutely.
full 90s jam. Yep.
Um, what can you do with COVID here, frankly?
Yeah, I hear you. I know. This was a whole big thing, and it shouldn't have been because, yeah, it was just a mess. Anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So we were starting to talk a little bit about making your business really intentional and kind of being who you are. Um, and on that kind of segueing there,
Hmm.
why don't we talk about who we are?
think I
Like,
said
if you want to
four
tell us
years.
a little bit about your, your professional credentials and the stuff that you're best at, the stuff that lights you up, and what you've done.
Yeah. So, I guess kind of weirdly enough, I tend to be very analytical and structured, and I have an art degree from it was sort of the opposite of what came naturally, which is fine. Stretch my all those whatever muscles, and let's see, I was a magazine editor for about three years or so, um, for a series of classic and collector car and hot rod magazines, which was
Of
super
course.
fun because I don't drive, and or I didn't. I do now, but I didn't back then, which was
Oh,
interesting. So it was all kind
I'm
of
gonna stay in for a sec.
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say hi to Eugene, who's saying hello. Thanks for being
Hi.
here.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Um, yes. So yeah, it was my first foray into fiction writing, basically, and creative nonfiction, I guess we'll go with that.
Yes.
Um, and so I did that for a few years, and then the publishing and my magazines, the publishing industry was basically collapsing around us at the time. This was like 2008 through 2011. Um, so it was kind of a weird time to be in magazines because like every day the big guys were shuttering, closing down production, limiting their streams. Um, my magazines were actually growing, but the whole system around us was kind of falling apart. So, um, it was interesting because we were um, we were really busy and really active right up until like the exact second that the entire thing just shut down.
Wow.
And they laid off, I don't know, 80 something people, I think, all just like one day. I was on my honeymoon at the time, so that was cool. Um,
Yeah, that was a
and
bloodbath that whole time.
what's up?
It was a real bloodbath that era.
Yeah, no, it really was. It was pretty crazy. Um, but yeah, so basically after that, you and I had gotten to be friends a little bit before that time, like kind of
Mhm.
overlapping with that. And I was kind of trying to figure out what I was going to do next. As it turns out, not knowing about cars and having 3 years of background editing a car magazine makes you kind of weird for hiring
Yeah.
because, yeah, um, yeah. So what I ended up doing was, you and I talked at the time, and you were doing copywriting, and and you were like, you should try this. If you've got this background in writing and all this, editing, and uh, it would be kind of a natural transition. And that's when I got started. I started my business beginning of 2012. Um, you and I did Jack Move together right before that, though, or
Yeah.
started working on that together, which was the online arts and culture zine that Emma put together, which was awesome.
It
Um,
was awesome. And it's still there, even though it's not being updated. It's
yeah,
jackmovemag.com. Fun
yes,
stuff there. A really cool array of just humans and concepts. And yeah, that was a good
yeah.
time. And you did an amazing job holding it all down after I got a full time job.
Well, I didn't have a full-time job, so I was like, this is my job. I'll just do this all the time. Um, but yeah, so we'd been working together, and then I kind of segued into doing uh, copywriting. And pretty much immediately after I started my business, it got kind of crazy, and then I got a full-time job. And then I immediately got pregnant. So I
A lot
spent,
of life stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a lot. So during the entirety of my pregnancy with my 7-year-old, I was working full time at HSN. I was running my business full time in the mornings, lunch breaks, after work, middle of the night, and weekends. And I was growing a person. Um, and kind of juggled all three of those up until well, up until she was born. Literally the day she was born, I called in and that was, that was it. I'm in labor. I can't come in anymore. Um, so yeah, so basically that's been, what I've been doing. I started working with Abby Kerr at the Voice Bureau um, pretty soon after I started my business and took over the Voice Bureau in 2016. And now I've kind of transitioned that into doing Dossier with Emma. So did I cover everything? It was kind of.
I think so. So I got my start. I had a pretty I have a really weird resume as well. And I did, gosh, I mean, I've worked everywhere, and I've done a huge number of types of jobs, and I've worked in different sectors, and I've done everything from, you know, being one of 5 people at a really small media company where I was doing the layout for the magazine, I was proofreading, I was writing, I was holding events, I was translating English to Spanish, Spanish to English, I was selling ads. You know, you take out the trash when it needs to be taken out.
Yeah.
From there, I went directly to, well, and before that, I mean, I worked a little bit in entertainment. I worked for a film production company, and then I did some PR for uh, primarily television, but we also handled, like, Eric Clapton was one of our clients. So I got enough of a sort of look at the backstage of that life to make me realize that it really wasn't my gig. And so I went to this media company. I worked at a tech startup for a little while, the year that everything went bust. I think it was 1999 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up at Toyota for 5 years, where I was simultaneously acutely uncomfortable. Um, and I also learned just a tremendous amount about business and about, I'll say strategy, but I think more so, it taught me, believe it or not, a lot about branding,
Mm-hmm.
in a strange way, because they have such a strong belief in their brand identity that it informs absolutely everything that they do. And I was always really inspired by that in a completely unironic way. Like, I just thought that was really cool. I worked at a couple of other places. I worked in wellness. I worked in higher ed, doing marketing stuff and writing stuff. I still continued to be fairly uncomfortable because even though I had the chops and I was good at what I did, I don't fit into that little business person mold, and I'm not good at faking it. And it just wasn't my world. I mean, it felt like I was wearing somebody's itchy jacket all day long. I thought, well, that's just how it is. I got to make a living. You know,
Right.
I wasn't
Yeah.
born independently wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
I married for love, not money. So I kind of just thought that was what it had to be. And then at a certain point, it just became really clear to me that that's not how it has to be. That in fact, there are several other ways of making a living that don't involve your having to pretend to be an entirely different creature from
Right.
what you are.
Right.
And one of the things that taught me that was that every single time, and we've said this before, but every single time you and I teamed up on something, even when it was stressful, even when we were on a major deadline, even when things went horribly awry with a website or with timing or what have you, it was still so easy to work with you. And it was so joyful. And it was just, oh, we're just getting things done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that really, I think that was the first inkling I had that, oh, I can just be myself and do really cool things that I love, that light me up. And I can
Mm-hmm.
find other people who are like that, and it works, and we can, gosh, make money and meet other people who are like us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's, I mean, I think that pretty neatly dovetails into where we're going
Mm-hmm.
tonight, with just the idea that you have what it takes to meet your right client, to meet your right people, to make money doing what you love.
Hmm.
Um, and it really just is about putting yourself out there. I mean, it's more complex than that,
Sure.
but um, but that's really the first step is realizing, oh, I do have what it takes. There are other people like me.
Hmm.
I don't have to try and fit into some weird mold.
Right.
And particularly now, since most of us have been home nonstop for so many months, everything is changing around
70
us.
or so, I think.
What's that?
Since 70 or so, I think. I think we're on like month 70 at this
70
point.
months, 70 months or 70 years?
I,
I,
yeah, not a clue.
I just think that gif from the Titanic where the woman's like, it's been 84 years.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, we're certainly seeing how people are really interested in the content that they like, the products that they like, the music, whether it's music, whether it's clothes, whether it's writing, whether it's, an ebook. People are really interested in having that direct connection. Um, and so I think this is just a really good opportunity to change up the way we're thinking about things and change up the way that we're doing things.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's interesting. I think that there are so many people right now who are realizing that the way that we've done things isn't going to work forever. It's not something that we want to go back to. A lot of people are starting businesses, and like we've talked about before, people who are in business for themselves, who are solopreneurs, small business owners, whatever. A lot of people, especially, I mean, primarily those who are set up to work online, primarily.
Mhm.
Um, they're having huge success lately because everybody's connected online and nowhere else. And so, I think that especially now that kids are going back to school, my 7-year-old starts school on Monday, and then my 4-year-old starts pre-K the following week, all virtual. If I was having to go into an office every day, that'd be incredibly stressful because what do I do with them? My parents are still, or my mom is still working. My dad is sort of, and my other dad, my dad, and my stepmom are on the other side of the country. I don't have the option to like drop the kids off in the morning and be like, all right, well, I'm going to go to work. And I wouldn't,
Right.
I'm not comfortable saying, okay, I'm going to send you into a school and like, fingers crossed, we'll see how this goes. Um, so, having that ability, I mean, now don't get me wrong, it is incredibly stressful, and I am going to be like a crazy person for the next month because, new routines and working at night and who knows, what it's going to take. But, I think that having that option and having that structure, that ability to do things my own way, has been so valuable. Um, for the sake of flexibility for these last 70 years, um, and going forward, and having you know that, I don't want to say safety net because it's not a safety net. It's the way that I've built my life.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
it's
let's be
been
really
very
clear about
intentional.
that. We don't have safety nets in our lives right now. Most of us do not.
Right.
Awesome if you do, but this is real world for us. This is how this is how we're living our lives.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's exciting, and I really love what we're doing, which I think makes it easier. And
Yeah.
this, kind of all ties into when I was working in the magazines. I had what a lot of people would consider a dream job. I spent my days looking at hot rods and pinup models and, working on, reading all these articles that if I was like a car person, it would have been living the dream. But
Yeah.
it wasn't me. It wasn't what I was interested in. It wasn't really what I wanted to do. It was a weird culture. It's a very weird culture to be a woman in. I mean, I think anything that you start dealing with cars, all of a sudden it's like, uh,
Ask me
you have
about
to prove
Toyota.
yourself so much harder. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it is a really difficult way to live every single day. It's one thing if it was like,
Yes.
I have to go in, I have to deal with this project, and then I'm back to my own thing. It's another thing entirely when like every single day I have to, hype myself up and be like, Hemis, all right, white wall tires, love it, let's do this. You After a while, you're just like, I just don't want to. I don't want to fake it.
Yeah.
I don't want to pretend that this is the way that I want to live and the way that I want to interact with the people that are in my office. Um, some of the people that I worked with, I loved. Some of them I did not love. Um,
Yeah.
which, any office environment. But I think it's so wildly different now. Um, working with you, working for ourselves, working with the clients that we get to work with. Um, it's not, I never have those days. I never wake up and go, oh, all right, put the face on,
Right.
you know.
Right. Let
Uh,
me put on that suit that lets me be a person I'm really not.
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
right.
That whole kind of running to stand still thing, having to fight your way to just sort of be baseline, is fucking exhausting. And I am so glad I don't have to do that anymore.
Amen.
And I don't think anybody should ever do it. If the traditional business world is your thing, awesome, go get it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
that's not the standard to which most of us, well, A, adhere to, but B, desire. Um,
Right.
and
And, and, and,
I
I, and I,
think no, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, and I have to say that that doesn't necessarily mean I'm a creative. And, because for me, yes, I'm a creative. I work creatively. I'm also a spreadsheet geek, and
Right.
I love systems and processes and things like that. But that doesn't mean that the standard workplace structure works for me. I can love spreadsheets in my own business and in my own way, and you don't have to fit into this very specific mold. Um, it's not like the creatives work for themselves and the spreadsheet people work for the business and this is just
Right.
how it is. It's you can truly structure your business around whatever your jam is.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point because I mean I definitely am, I think, primarily a creative, but I love strategy and I love a certain type of networking. I don't love going to networking events in LA because they're horrible, but I love that stuff. I love meeting people and I love figuring out how we can work together and I love figuring out our next move, taking into account all the politics that are going on, figuring out how to get the message across to people. Um, but I approach that all with a very creative and I mean, let's just put it out all out on the table with a very like highly sensitive person, highly intuitive, highly empathic. Um,
Mhm.
that's who I am. And that was always just sort of all of those things were bad to be when I was in the kind of the straight business world. Um, and it was really lonely. I think always having to feel like you're putting part of yourself away, even gosh, even just when you're like grabbing a drink with people after work, it's not you can't relax. It's not really fun because there's a chance that anytime you say something that means something to you, half the people there are going to go, "What do you
Yeah,
okay?" And then
yeah,
you'll get all the comments like, "Oh, haha, well you're certainly creative." And whatever, it's fine. Except that that's not what you want to do every day of your life. That's not how you
Right,
want to pay for your life. That's not how you want to create more energy for your life. It just doesn't
right,
work for everybody.
right.
And so I think, what you and I have seen with each other,
Mhm.
as well as with a lot of our peers, is that you need to be willing to reach out to people. You need to be willing to find where your people are. You need to be able to, not able to, but willing to, you need to be able to take the chance on showing them who you are, which can be really
Mhm.
scary if you're used to having people sort of look away in horror, or look away and just
Yeah,
like not understand. Yeah.
right,
Um,
100%.
and it can be tough, but if you take that
Yeah,
chance, if you look where your people are, whether that's online or, I mean, right now that's online,
right.
you can find those people and you can figure out how to do whatever your thing is with those people.
Right,
I
right,
think
right.
I cut you off a
Yeah, I
couple of
think,
times by accident.
oh, no, no, no. I'm agreeing with you. I know I have always been like the weirdo in the office because, you know, I just don't adhere to that, like, this is how things are. And, I listen to weird music. I've had neon red hair or hot pink hair or bright purple hair for the off and on for 25 years, something like that, 26 years. Um, and so, you show up for work with hot pink hair one day, you are forever that weird chick who has pink hair. Whether you have pink hair for more than a day or not,
Right,
it's
right,
forever. Um, and I think that it always did feel like a detriment where you're fighting to be taken seriously and you're fighting to be corporate-y, businessy, whatever. But I feel like the opposite is true in online business, where you're really, it, what's important is presenting yourself as yourself. That
yes,
authenticity matters so much more than what the hell color your hair is. Nobody
right,
cares. It's not it's not relevant. It's not relevant to my ability to do my job, whether I have my natural red hair or cherry red hair. Um,
right,
it doesn't
right.
matter at all, you know?
What matters is, are you good at what you do?
Right.
Are you presenting your services or your wares or whatever it is in a way that your people can relate to? And are you a decent human being? What a concept. I remembered a story when you'd said about showing up with pink hair one day and like never. I remembered
Yep.
a story from when this was ages ago, but so I'm a college dropout, and I I was at some job. I was an assistant, and somebody said there was like a conversation going on, and I happened to be just on the periphery of it, and somebody said, "We don't hire people who aren't college graduates." And I looked at him and I said, "Yes, you do." And he was horrified. He was like, "What? Are you serious?" I said, "Yeah, I dropped out." He's like, "Did we know that?" I said, "I mean, it doesn't say college dropout on my resume. I didn't go. I just didn't graduate." And he was
Your
like,
headline.
"Uh." I mean, good for him. He's now like a senior VP at Fox or CBS or something, but whatever. Good guy. I really like him. But it's just that kind of constant, like, okay, everybody put him out on the table. We're going to take out some rulers now. Like, that's just not
Yeah,
where I want to put my energy.
agreed. Agreed, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I think I've known people who have gone to elite institutions and people who are self-taught. And I can't say that one is necessarily better than the other. Because I've known people who've, graduated from these very high-end schools who are idiots when it comes down
Yeah.
to it, and in the ways that in the things that they're trying to do. They might be great at XYZ, but if that's not what their business is, if that's not what they're, presenting themselves as, it doesn't matter. Um, and there's also the whole, people skills. There are a lot of people who
Yeah.
have, you know, an alphabet soup after their names, but can't relate to a human being. And
I mean, I was at I worked at a university for a number of years, and it was, I was raised to sort of, worship is a strong word, but I was raised to sort of think academia is the end all be all. So ironically, I end up dropping out. However, I went into this Institute of Higher Education thinking, this is amazing. I am in the halls of higher learning and this is going to be awesome. And I, I have never met so many people with so many letters after their names who can't put together a sentence, who have no people skills, who absolutely the only thing they have going for them is the fact that they went to university for a very long time. Um, I love school. I loved school when I was in it. I have a mad respect for it now. I love teachers. I love learning. And I was so I felt like personally let down that there were so many people sort of like I felt like they were belittling the act of
Mhm.
education.
Yeah.
But a lot of those people honestly looked down on me because they didn't know one way or the other what degrees I might have or not,
Sure.
but they honestly thought they were more valuable than other people who didn't have those degrees.
Right.
So that kind of I thought this is really the same dynamic that I saw in the business world. I'm a businessman and blah blah blah, so that means that's just not that's just not the world I want to be in.
Right. Right. I
And
agree.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty excited to be out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's absolutely, it's so freeing to get to work with the people that we get to work with and interact with them, uh, because I genuinely like them as people. I don't think I have ever worked with somebody who I went into it like, I don't like you as a person. I have issues with you as a person. I think every single client has been somebody who I might not want to be friends with you, but I respect what you're doing, or
Yeah.
I do want to be friends with you, or it's it you get to have such a more authentic connection with people, um,
Yeah.
because you have so much more control. You have a lot more control over, um, how you're connecting, and again, like we were talking about, knowing where to find these people. Some of it is you find them where you are.
Yeah.
You find
Absolutely.
these people by going to the places that feel authentic to you. And a lot of those people are going to come to you that way. I think that a lot of my clients have been referrals from people who I really like. And so
Yes.
it turns into this very, very warm, very inclusive feeling of community.
Yeah.
Um, and really, I think that building that community is so critical and so, uh, just the core of running an online business. You can't do it alone. You can't do it in a bubble because you're just going to be screaming constantly. And the more that you build that community, and it's not, people get into the whole like, oh, you got to build your list, got to build your list. Yeah, okay, whatever, sure. That is one way of building community, but it's more than that. It's not just what are my numbers on my list. It's how many people are engaged with me and how am I showing up, authentically, and presenting who I am and asking who they are, and really continuously building that. I want to talk to you, and I think that the way that you and I have built Dossier has been so great because I want to talk to you.
Right.
Like, the fact that we get to do that as part of our work is awesome.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
people that, we're interacting with are people that I'm like, oh, we get to talk to this person today, or oh, we get to do this,
Yeah.
this project, and I can't wait to do this. Um, I really feel like building that connection is just such a benefit to business. Not just like I need to do this in order to stay in business, but I love doing that. And I am the worst networker, like, in the world. I mean, I'm like, I break out in hives sending a friend request to somebody who I actually know in real life because I don't know if we're
Yeah.
like
She really does,
friends
you
or
guys. She
acquaintances. So like if anybody is watching this and I haven't sent you a friend request, it's not that I don't like you, but you should send me one because I won't do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, no, just so, but I do still think that having the community through and having the connection with the people that we work with and having the connection with each other um, really is central to running a business in a way that isn't corporate. Um,
Yeah. And if I can just interject, I so much of traditional business to me is just it's dry sex. And you know what? Life's too short. Like, let it go.
yeah, 100%.
No, thank you. We can do better. Um,
Yes.
and this seems like a really good time to talk about the new thing we're building.
Does. It really does. So, um, pretty recently, we uh, did a very, very, very soft launch for our DIY brand alchemy kits, which we're really super excited about because it is this totally swank box that you get in the mail full of all sorts of really great stuff that we've put together that we love and that we would love to get in the mail. And basically, we've what we've been referring to as the Encyclopedia Britannica of uh, branding, which is a printed hardback book of our branding course, basically everything that you need from conception to figuring out the details, picking your fonts, and building your funnels, and all of the things that you want to know in order to get your business online and effective and connecting. All naming things and getting everything in front of the right people.
Building your
But
website.
what's that?
Building your
Yes,
website.
yeah, building your right. I'm sorry. Building your website, but your brand as a whole too, not just necessarily strictly
Absolutely.
the website, but everything that
But I
goes
mean, it's
into the
everything.
brand. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So, and we were really excited about this course aspect of it, but the more we talked about it, it really felt like there needed to be a component that was not DIY because that is kind of it is isolating, and I don't think that that's what we're about. We don't want to just send you something beautiful in the mail and then be like, all right, catch you around. Um, yeah. um, we want it to be something that's an environment that feels a little bit more nurturing. And I think we were talking about including like a session where they could talk to us, but what ended up feeling a little bit better and well, a lot better. And
I love it.
yeah.
And fun. Like really
And
fun and
yes,
exciting.
and
Yeah.
fun was creating a membership community. And for the rest of this year, it is going to be exclusively open to people who have purchased the Brand Alchemy Kit. We're going to drop the DIY because it's not DIY anymore. It's DIT. We'll do it together instead of just, you know. you're on your own. Um, but this the brand alchemy kits are still totally packed with all sorts of goodies and tools and swag uh and this branding course. But then we're also going to be having this community, which is going to be once a month. Emma and I will have a talk, a video chat like this, but a little bit more focused, maybe less cocktails,
A little,
possibly.
like, hopefully a lot more focused. No wine, no gin, just like focused on you.
Do we have to? Can we?
We don't have to tell, I guess.
Okay.
All right.
I'll just get a straw so I can like
Perfect.
Um, so we'll have our monthly talk about a topic that's related to building your brand and really creating something that feels good to you, that feels like something that you want to experience. I freaking love Dossier. I mean,
Yeah.
like everything about it just feels, it makes me happy. I
Yeah.
look at our business cards and I'm like, damn, I want to hand these out to everyone. They are
Like,
sexy business cards.
seriously. Like, even I don't know, even the most mundane of tasks, I'm so excited to do them because
Yeah.
I love what we're doing and I love the people that we're meeting and I love our clients and I love thinking of new things to do and new ways to do it. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that. We did a VIP session a couple weeks ago, and for 7 hours straight, we worked. And we worked through lunch. So, I mean, it was like nonstop, but the entire day for 7 straight hours, you and I were on video with each other in one form or
And
another.
clients.
And with the client, yes. But I mean, like, you and I were 100% together,
We were
and we
like
kind of,
mind melded the whole day. Yeah.
yes.
And it
And
went by like this.
it was awesome. Yeah, it was so good. I mean, we got a crazy amount done. I mean, like,
We did an entire course for our client,
yes.
which I'm not sure when she said she's going to be launching that, but it's an amazing concept. I love it so much, and it would be something I would want to buy for myself, regardless of whether or not I knew her. But yeah, no, we wrote an entire course.
Hmm.
She and her she and her virtual assistant had lunch delivered to them on
Hmm.
us, and honestly, it was 7 hours. I was expecting it to feel like a long haul, and it didn't. It was so
Yeah,
fun.
it was. It was. It was so much fun. It was like, I want to do this I do this a lot. I want to do this a couple
Yeah,
times a week.
yeah,
You know,
seriously.
and
It
you
was
would think
great.
like 7 hours straight. It's like, oh, I can only do that like
Right.
rarely. It was like, no,
But
no,
when
this is
it's
great.
work that you love and you're working with people you really like and respect, it's just a completely different world. And
Absolutely.
so we thought, we really think there should be more of this.
Hmm.
Um, and that was another one of the things that led us to creating this community.
Hmm.
Is we thought, we've seen over the last few years, especially, how many other people and especially women, although this is open to everybody, but women in particular, just don't really jive with the whole businessy 9 to 5y,
I agree.
whatever kind of deal. Um, and being around people who speak your language is so important to your mental health, to your well-being, to your business's well-being.
Yeah.
Um, and so what we're envisioning is all these people who join the community, and we offer them. So, you know, we're going to open it at first to the folks who buy the Brand Alchemy kit, and we'll come together. We'll have chats like this, but focused about different things relating to your business, relating to your branding, relating to whatever you want to talk about. Um, we'll also have newsletters that go out regularly where we're telling you the latest stuff that we're hearing, the latest stuff that we're seeing, ideas that we have, new things that we're trying that are making our business run smoother, that are making our lives run better. Because, Katie's a single mom of 2 kids under the age of 7. I am not a single mom, and I only have one kid who's 14 and 2 dogs, but honestly, I'm really easily overwhelmed. So, um, we know, life is messy and we love having a business that allows for that.
Right.
And I love having a business partner that like can work with me on that.
Yeah.
Um, it just
Yeah.
makes a tremendous difference to my life and to my family's life.
Agreed. 100%. I mean, it is truly, and I mean, I think people throw this around. It is truly life changing.
Yeah,
It's,
it is.
um, yeah, it's, I can't imagine. I literally, I can't imagine going back to a 9 to 5. I just couldn't, I don't think I could do
No.
it. Um, Not that I couldn't do this 9 to 5, but I couldn't go to work for somebody else and someone else's structure and somebody else's way of doing things.
Yeah.
Knowing that we can build something that's so different and that is so much more in line with our values, in line with our interests, in line with the way we want to work and the way we want to interact with people and the people we want to interact with. I think that,
And that people need and want and like.
yes, yeah,
So,
yes. So this membership community, I'm really excited about building because it's going to be people that have a similar, mindset. That people who are going, I want to build my business and I want to build a brand that nourishes me, that makes me feel like I love this. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, damn, I should get my logo tattooed on myself somewhere because like I freaking love that. And like I considered it. It's a really, I mean, like the whole,
I mean, it's not off the table, right?
no,
I really like our,
I do too.
maybe like a back piece for just the D and the circle.
Yeah, we'll
We'll
talk
talk.
post
We'll talk.
COVID
Yeah.
because I'm not wearing a mask for like 8
No.
hours. Um, yeah, but I mean, I think that the idea that you can have that, it feels like such a pipe dream to people. Like it's this sort of like, oh, that sounds really nice. But like,
Oh my
no, no,
God.
no,
It's
no. It's not, it sounds
so
really nice.
fun.
It's like, frickin' make
Yeah.
it happen. Just do it,
Yeah. Yeah.
And
But that's not something that I could ever have done on my own. Like
right.
I worked for myself for quite some time and I sucked at it because some people are great. Like you're really good at covering sort of the logistics and the spreadsheet and also awesome creative stuff. If I am worried about the logistics and the spreadsheet and the money,
Hmm.
my creative brain shuts down because then
Yeah.
I'm just scared all the time.
Well,
So
and
I
that's
was really terrible at that.
and
And that's
that's
another
me and networking. I like, oh my God, the thought of having to like send emails every day to people who I don't know,
dude,
like
I
it, it,
love
it
that shit.
makes me physically ill. I couldn't even, yeah. No, and that's why that's something that, we've talked about and we did the Clifton Strengths Finder and it was like,
Right.
oh, um, you know, we had this discussion about the things that we were feeling guilty about putting on each other. I was like,
Right.
it's such an imposition for me to ask her to send an email to somebody. And she's like, done. It's already done.
Yeah,
And,
it's done and they got a response and they want to talk to us and you know. And same
right.
thing, like I was going, "Oh God, can I get what was the thing I was talking about the other day?" Where I was like, "I just feel really bad asking you to do this." And you're like, "Are you freaking kidding me? I love this stuff."
No, yeah, I
Um,
totally,
I don't remember what it was, but we basically
oh,
were
it
both
was,
like, "What?"
I think it was doing we were coming up with a proposal that was like how to distill down this sort of like what we needed to do into like, these are the deliverables, do this.
Yes, that's what it
Yeah.
was.
And
I
I
was like,
love that.
like I can't. I shut down.
Yeah.
And like we've had this, and it's not like we didn't know that the other was good at the thing that we weren't good at, but
Mhm.
we finally had this discussion where we were like, okay, this is dumb.
Right.
Let's just assume that nobody's imposing on anybody, and we'll just get things done and get them out of the way and move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And oh my God, it just makes life so much easier.
Does. Yeah, it really does. It is like knowing I know that the Clifton strengths, whatever, but I don't want to just call it strengths because it's not just like, you're good at networking, I'm good at strategy. It's like
Right.
I don't have to think about it. I don't have to work about it. It doesn't stress me out. It's just like
Right.
it just happens. And likewise for you with, reaching out to people and networking, for me, that is a task. That is like when I worked at the car magazines, we would have to go to car shows. And I'd have to approach all these people and be like, hey, let's talk about your car and maybe we can like do a feature or something. And every single time I had to do that, it was just like, I just can't. And I ended up bringing our photographer with me like everywhere we went. And some of it, like I could pass it off as like, oh yeah, I might need him to do a shoot on the spot or something. He's like the most networky person I've ever met in my life. He's just like, I'm
Awesome.
just gonna shake hands with literally every stranger in this room. I should probably check in with him on this like pandemic because he's probably losing his mind. It's just he's like he works a crowd like no one I've ever seen in my life. And so I would go and I'd be like, look, I have to talk to people, but I can't. So, and he would just be like, okay, I got a meeting with that guy, that guy, that guy, and that guy. And I was like, cool, cool. All right.
I hope you were giving him some of your bonus.
I didn't get a bonus. Yeah, no,
Oh,
it wasn't I
yeah.
wish, right? But he earned it. Yeah, yeah, no, it was. So, I think that this all kind of ties into the idea of not going it alone. Um,
Yes. Yes.
we really like now with this community, there is going to be, the Facebook component where we're going to have a Facebook group and people can kind of share ideas, help each other out, interact, and we'll be in there, guiding discussion and helping
Yeah,
out
like
and stuff.
we'll have themes
But
for different months, and we'll be talking about, we'll be bringing up different questions and talking about, share with us what your experience has been with this and
right.
that sort of thing.
Yes, yeah. But then we also have the group coaching calls. We're going to do 2 group coaching calls a month,
Yes.
which is kind of a big. I mean, I think that's a pretty big component of this membership community is twice a month we're going to have these hour-long calls where we get everybody together and you can pick our brains and we'll dish out ideas and you know help talk people through where they're feeling stuck, where they're feeling like they have a gap in what they're doing. um like for me, I really need support in outreach because it stresses me out, because it doesn't come naturally to me. And that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know, there are other things that I'm really good at, and nobody's going to be really good at everything, which is something
Yeah.
that, like, as like, the high achiever kid was kind of a hard lesson to learn.
That is
Um,
such a kid thing. That like, well, if I'm not perfect at it the first time, that means I'm horrible at it. And if I'm not perfect at everything, that means I failed as a human being. And I think a lot of people like us tend to turn into business owners who then drive themselves crazy with that. And you know what? It is such nonsense.
right. Yes,
Like
it
it's
is.
utter bullshit.
Yes. Yes.
Um, you can imagine having to never do the thing that you hate ever again in your daily work.
Hmm.
Oh my God. Because you know what? There's somebody else who loves it. And that, for me, I mean, it sounds really overly simplified, but for me, that is the constant ongoing proof that human beings need community.
Yes.
Because I don't want to do the stuff I hate. I, you know, I used to have my son do the unload and reload the dishwasher every day.
Hmm.
And I cleaned the bathroom every week. And he was really bad at it. And I was always pissy about it because, like, every day I was like, dude, you put away a dish that had like crusty old food in it. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Every time. And then I would go and clean the bathroom and I just like hated it. I'm not, to be sure, I'm not a fan of washing dishes. But I really hated cleaning the bathroom.
Mhm.
And at some point, this light bulb kind of went on, and I said, "Hey, Luke, how do you feel about switching? What if you clean the bathroom once a week and I do the dishes every night?" And he was like, "Are you kidding? Yes." He
Yeah.
was so excited.
Yep.
I'm like, "Really? You don't mind?" He goes, "Once a week cleaning a bathroom versus every night washing the dishes, I don't mind at all." Oh my God. It was like,
Hmm.
Campbell's Hallelujah chorus kicked in. And that approach can be taken with really any part of your life, any part of your work. But you need community for that. You need community to
Yes.
find out where you can find help and to let go of the things that you are not good at and to get really good at the things that you are good at because you're not taking time away from them by doing
Yeah.
other crap.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's funny. It's something that I didn't really realize until really when I started working with Abby at the Voice Bureau
Mm-hmm.
because she had a VA and I had never had a VA. And
For
she
folks who don't
would
know what a
send,
VA is, it's a virtual assistant.
oh, sorry,
So
yes,
it's somebody
yeah.
who does whatever, like fill out this spreadsheet or make these phone calls or whatever. So
Yeah.
carry
So,
on.
well, yeah, no, but she had this great VA who she could just send her something and be like, "Hey, Melissa, can you take care of this?" And it would get done, and it was magical. And when I first started out, I think I went from like project manager to director of operations, but we had a fancy name,
Right.
doyen of operations.
So again, I remember
Yes,
that.
yes. Uh, so, but each of us kind of had our lane, and it was amazing because there were certain things that like we'd kind of have to go, okay, hey, you're not in your lane, focus on this thing, you focus on this thing. But the more that we kind of got into each of our respective roles, the easier things were. Um, because there were certain things that I was really good at that Abby was not good at, and certain things that Abby was really good at that I was not good at. And, we all kind of worked together in a way that was really this great synchrony. It was just
Yeah.
kind of like we all have our places. And, you know, I think that once you get into like business culture, corporate culture, that starts to kind of spiral out of control because the bureaucracy ends up getting, in the way. But when you're
Yeah.
building your own thing, even, and I mean, I really truly do think it's possible to maintain that no matter how big your business gets.
Agreed.
But you have to be intentional. And I think that you and I have talked about this, that intentionality is like our number one thing as a business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it doesn't, we kind of have sort of a luxury feel for a lot of the stuff that we do, but it doesn't have to be the most expensive thing, the most deluxe thing, the most, over the top thing. It just needs to be the most intentional thing. This is the
Right.
right tool for the job. This is the right gift for the person. This is, whatever it is,
This is the right
that,
robe for me to make me feel awesome.
yes.
Um, yeah, but I like the comparison of the right tool for the job. What job needs doing and what is going to get that job done. It doesn't have to be expensive. It just has
Mhm.
to be right.
Right. And I mean, sometimes it is expensive because
Yeah.
I have definitely gone through large parts of my life where I kind of cheaped out on something and was like, I could spend this and get the right thing, or I could spend this and get the thing that's not quite right, but you know, and this is
But eh,
why, yeah, well, and this is why I own 100 pairs of shoes, and this is why you know, you just amass so much junk because you kind of go, it's not exactly what I was looking for, but it's what I'm willing to spend. Or
right.
it's, but having that extra bit of intentionality and going, I'm gonna get the thing that I'm looking for. I'm gonna go looking and I'm gonna keep looking until I find it. Um, I think that really applies to anything in life, but absolutely in business, saying I'm focused on finding that right tool, finding that right
Yeah.
person, finding that right community, finding that right support that I need. And, you know, um, we really hope that people are going to find a lot of that in the community that we're building, because it is, you know, really geared towards intentionality. It's geared towards creating the thing that brings you life. And,
Yeah.
you know, whatever that is, however that shows up in the world for you, whether you're a solopreneur who has, you know, a really teeny tiny business that you don't want to grow beyond, I make candles in my living room, or you're, you know, a multi-million dollar business who has corporate clients and jets and whatever the fuck you know, it's it's whatever you do, as long as you're being intentional about it, and you know you're building this framework that is your framework and
On
not
purpose.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes all the difference. And this is maybe kind of corny, but I really truly have come to believe that everything comes down to that famous line from the movie The Shawshank Redemption, which I realize is also a short story, but I never read. Um, where Morgan Freeman's character, whose name I've forgotten, says, "Get busy living or get busy dying." And for me, that's what everything comes down to. Whether it's, you know, what am I going to wear today? Whether it's how am I going to interact with my son? Whether it's what am I posting on Facebook? What kind of work am I doing? Where am I going to church or not?
Hmm.
Everything comes down to what adds to my life, what takes away from my life.
Hmm.
And it makes everything so much simpler. But I think more to the point, look, I'm 45. I'm really tired of bullshit. I'm really tired of having to apologize for myself, for existing, for not being what society thinks I should be, for being too much, for having opinions, for speaking my opinions, for being too smart, for being nerdy, for being weird, for wearing too much black, for not being, you know, a good Mexican woman, not being a good white woman, not, you know, I just don't care anymore. I don't have time. I'm not interested. Um, and for me, it all really just comes down to, is it giving me life or is it taking life away from me? I
Hmm.
don't want to do anything that's going to take life away from me. And
Right.
that's the
Right.
start and finish for me.
Right. I agree. I agree. Yeah, I think I have spent a almost my entire life being too much for people and diminishing myself because of it, because
Yeah.
you know it makes people uncomfortable, it makes people feel a little bit weird about the fact that I do things differently, or I think about things differently, or I enjoy different things, or you know,
Or like you're so extra, which I love. I love that about you.
I am so extra. And you know, but the thing is, like, the more I lean into it, the more I'm like, yeah, this feels so right. It feels
Yeah.
so much
Yeah.
more authentic to just be as extra as I am.
And it makes
And
everything easier, everything else, right?
yes, yes, everything. And you know, I love that, because it's like finally letting out a breath that you didn't know you were
Yes.
holding. That like
Yes.
I didn't realize how much I was shrinking myself until I stopped. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm a little over the top. And that's who I am. And I'm going to be a little over the top. And yes, when we get off of this call, I'm going to disassemble my sectional sofa and I'm going to put on my teal velvet cover that I just bought online, because
Yes.
that's what I do with my night. Because you know what? I'm done. I'm done with like the you know, medium gray, neutral color, whatever, because it's not who
Suburban
I am.
mom. Yeah.
Right? Right.
Yeah.
And I recognize that like if I show up as myself at my kids' school, there are going to be moms who are going to look at me like,
Oh yeah.
and that's fine. They can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Because,
It's none of your business what they do.
right, right.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the kind of environment we want. We are looking forward to creating the kind of community where that's the guiding principle.
Hmm.
Show up as yourself and be a decent human being, and we can all grow together and we can
Yes.
all do this.
Yes.
And we're really looking forward to getting to know more people who think like we do, because we know there's a lot of them out there,
Yes.
and really growing that space. And who knows, hiring them to do stuff for us or
Yeah.
vice versa. I just think there's so much potential and I'm really excited about it. And then just before we close, I want to give out a few more details about
Yeah. Yeah.
it's formally launching October 1st.
Hmm.
Um, we'll have more details up on the website, dossierAgency.com, soonish. Um, I feel like there's something big I'm forgetting, Katie. Um,
It's going to be, we'll have a monthly theme. We'll send out a
yeah,
newsletter about the monthly theme. We will have weekly newsletters. We're going to have a monthly video summit with the two of us where we're going to talk about this topic and kind of give you like the brain dump on it. We'll have twice monthly uh, group coaching calls around this topic, but also if there's something you're stuck with in your business, we'll talk about that. Um, we'll have weekly newsletters. We're going to relaunch Genuine Curation, which I'm so excited about.
yes.
I love Genuine Curation so much. Which
Do you want
is,
to say
okay,
a
so
little bit about what that is?
yes, I am. So Genuine Curation is this thing that Emma started doing, I think before we started working together, but that we did with Jack Move,
Yeah.
which was basically, here are the things that we love. Here are the things that we have come into contact with. It's kind of, it's reminiscent of a gift guide in that sometimes there
Mhm.
are things to buy, but it also might be like, I think in one of them I did like this kind of olives that I was like really, really digging at the time.
Oh
And
yeah,
you did like
you did.
a show that you were really enjoying and like, um, so it's whatever we feel is worth sharing, things that
Yeah.
genuine curation, you know, what we
Yeah.
are really enjoying right then. Um,
So
we're gonna do
it's not
more.
like it's not like, hey, these advertisers paid us to mention their products, so we're going to do
Right,
that. The complete opposite of that. It's,
right.
hey, here's some stuff we really like. Some of it you can buy, and some of it you can't.
Hmm.
Some of it's free. Some of it you have to make yourself. But we think these things are lovely and worth the time and worth your attention. So we're going to share those with
Right,
you. Um,
right.
anyway, it did really well in Jack Move as a feature. And so
Yes.
we're really excited at getting that back.
And it's super fun. It's so much
Yeah.
fun to be like, I love this thing. I love this
Yeah.
person. I love this whatever that, I've listened to this song 75 times this week. You
Right.
know?
Exactly.
Um, and oh, playlists. We do love a
Playlists,
playlist.
obviously. So we do playlists every now and then on
Hmm.
Spotify. We have an account there if you want to follow us and check them out.
Hmm.
Um, Dossier Agent. We're pretty much Dossier Agency everywhere.
I think so, yeah.
Spotify, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram,
Hmm.
also our website. But yeah, we'll be doing playlists regularly because I really love when other people do that. There's this astrologer I follow named Chani Nicholas, and she sometimes will do the whole like everybody's horoscopes in song form, which is really fun. Anyway, all of that to say, hi, Tia Rosana. I see you. Hi. Um, all of that to say, it's going to be loaded with goodies. It's going to be an awesome environment. We really hope you'll join us, and we'll have more information soon. If you want to give us a follow on Facebook, then you'll be able to see when we announce it. If you want to follow us on LinkedIn, that'd be cool.
Hmm.
Um,
But just know
anything
if
else?
you sign up for our Brand Alchemy kits anytime between now and October 1st, you're getting the pre-sale rate. which
Hmm.
is significantly lower than the
Significantly.
once
Yeah.
it's launched. You're also going to get 6 months of membership in the community.
Yep.
Um, and exclusive membership through the end of the year. We're only opening this to this smaller group of people because we really want to make sure that, when we're doing the group calls and when we're having the close interactions, it's going to be, really of value to the people who are really invested in building their business, building their brand, creating something that means something to them. And to you, anybody who is ready to jump into this and really create something that's intentional and meaningful and authentic to who you are and how you want to show up in the world. Um, and after January 1st, we'll open the membership community up to more people. You will still be within your 6 months, so you get the bigger community too. But
Yeah.
you kind of get that like slightly closer one-on-one thing. And discounted one-on-one. We're going to be doing
Oh,
flash
right.
consulting services. Yeah, we will be offering 30-minute flash consults where we kind of work through some issue that you're having, something that you're trying to figure out. And there is a discounted rate. So if you're a part of the community, if you've gotten one of the Brand Alchemy kits, or later on down the road, if you're just in the community, there is a discounted rate for that. And for any Voice Bureau courses, which, Voice Bureau is separate from Dossier, but at the same time, we have great courses.
Yeah.
The Voice
Really
Bureau
cool.
courses are really, really, really cool. And they're very specific to like, I am trying to do this thing. So if there's like a thing you're stuck on, it's a good thing to check out.
Yeah.
So we'll have discounted rates for members on all of that as well. So trying to pack it with as much good stuff as we can because we really want it to be useful for people and we really want people to, get something out of it and be able to build businesses that they love.
Yeah. Yeah. While feeling luxe and
Yeah.
cared for.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're about. That's important.
Yes. I
So,
think, there was, gosh, it was a really long time ago. You and I had a talk about getting stuff in the mail that's wrapped in tissue paper and
yeah.
like how important that is. And it's so stupid in the grand scheme of things that like, but it matters so much.
It makes
You
a
get something
difference.
in the mail and you're like, oh, it's in a little plastic bag. It could be the exact same thing wrapped in tissue paper. And all of a sudden you're
Yeah.
like, ooh, tissue paper, check me
Ooh, fancy.
out.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah,
it's the touches like that that make a difference, and that's
right.
important to us. And we want, that's everything that we do. We strive to have that same feeling, and like, oh, this was picked for me. It was carefully wrapped for me. This is all for me, and it's meant to recognize that my time and attention and talents and life are important.
Intentionality, luxury,
Yes.
personalization.
Yes.
Like, and
That's how we.
like we said, it doesn't have to be the most expensive thing. It just has to be the exact right thing,
Yeah,
which is why
exactly.
I need to start doing my Christmas shopping now.
Yeah, same here. I started doing that actually yesterday, and then I realized that everything was shipping from Japan, and it was like $40 in shipping costs for like $30 of items, and I sadly had to dump the whole thing. I'm rethinking my whole
You,
strategy now.
you know exactly how I feel about shipping costs.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
hey, and by the way, shipping costs are included on the Brand Alchemy kits.
Oh, that's right. Shipping costs are included, so you never have to
I don't
feel
mess with
totally
shipping costs.
pain.
Mm-mm. Not ever, ever. I
That's
will spend an extra $300 to not have a shipping fee.
you showed them. All right. Well, listen, thank you
Yeah.
so much for being with us, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you watched, glad you were here for whatever part of it you were able to watch. That's awesome. The replay will be available. Give us a like on Facebook if you would. That would be
Mhm.
awesome. And bonus, you'll get to find out when new stuff happens.
Yeah.
Thank you, Katie, as always.
Thank you, Emma.
And we'll do this again soon.
Yes, definitely. I'm
All right.
excited.
Bye,
All right.
everybody.
Cheers. Bye.